So my pet peeve is people who don't take care of the planet that we live on. And my story is how this came to be my pet peeve. In my early years, like before third grade, we lived in West York Borough. And sometime in third grade, my brother and I were informed that we were moving to the country. We moved in between the two very large towns of Brogue and New Bridgeville. And if you're not familiar with them, that's because they're not large. Brogue has a post office, New Bridgeville had a garage. And we lived in between them, in the suburbs, you might say. The closest kids to us were literally a mile away. So we became country kids very quickly. And we were surrounded by fields and forest. Those were our playgrounds. And my brother and I, especially in the summer, we played in the fields and the woods every day. We learned to catch trout in the stream down below the house. Every good country kid needs a bow and arrow, and we had them. And we would go out hunting with them. We never shot anything because it's hard to hit a pheasant with a bow and arrow or a rabbit, but we tried anyway. And it was a great childhood. We loved the woods. It's where I discovered the best way to look at a tree is to lay at the bottom of it with your head against the trunk and look straight up. And we just loved the forest. Then one day, some big equipment showed up and they started cutting the forest down, logging equipment. Our forest was special because it was ours. It was our playground. It even had a hollow tree with honeybees in it, which is extremely rare. This is back before bees were endangered, but bald eagles were endangered at the time. So the trees came down, it destroyed our playground. We went down to check on the honeybee tree. They even knocked it down. The stream filled up with silt and we didn't catch trout anymore. At that time, I became environmentally aware. And I was just in grade school, probably fifth grade, sorry. But that got it all started. And from that point on, everything I've done has been to fight this battle, to make people aware that we are here on borrowed time on a borrowed planet. And we need to leave it better than the way we found it. So in school, I was always interested in studying things about nature. Majored in biology in college, no surprise there. And I had no interest in anatomy and physiology kind of biology. I wanted to teach about nature. Became a teacher, and I teach environmental science and just regular biology, the things I consider not the most exciting things, like protein synthesis, who cares? But environmental science is my passion. So as I've been going through this process of teaching, I've learned more and more and more about environmental science. And in my high school class, we cover a topic in environmental science, land use, which York County has some land use issues, in case you didn't notice, all the developments and shopping malls. And actually all Pennsylvania does, the eastern part for sure. And Lancaster County has some issues there too. So we study land use and we study urban renewal. My students had an assignment where they had to take an urban area, a real one, and pitch a redevelopment plan. Well, to show them what I was looking for, I took the area around the school and I redeveloped it into a forest. And I pitched it to them. I had maps and everything. And they loved the idea. And the biggest comment I got from students, though, is that this is a great idea, but it would never work. No one would ever allow this. So I wrote my maps up, and they were on huge poster paper. And they had overlays on them and all this and that, and different color codes for what would be planted there. I wrote them up and just put them away. Well, I found out about a class I could take through Penn State to become a master watershed steward. And I took it along with one of my students, ironically. So my student and I, who at that time, now we both were students, went to this class together, and we became master watershed stewards. And in there, I learned about riparian buffers, which are forests beside streams. Just so happens our school property has a stream running through it. So I met the right people, took my maps to my boss, the superintendent of the school district, pitched the idea, and today we are planning a riparian buffer, the largest one in York County. It would be done right now except for COVID-19. Students help plant trees, the community helped plant trees, and everything that I stand for has now come to be. One of the biggest compliments I ever got from a student is that he said, "Mr. Lentz, you're like the Lorax." Little did he know, the Lorax is actually my favorite superhero.